Are you having trouble finding your female ancestors? Well, one of the solutions I have for finding your female ancestors is to search for her children. Today, I'm going to walk you through an online search hack that I have that helps me find the children of my female ancestors. So first, what I want to do is I want to start with a census record. Now, this doesn't really work if you have no clue about the children and you don't know if your ancestor ever got married. Typically, when we're doing genealogy research, we start from present and work to the past, and then we bump into a female ancestor and we want to know more about her. What is her maiden name? Who are her parents? Who are her siblings? Great. Well, if you live in Canada, the UK, or the United States, then I want you to look at the census record. Now, some other countries do have census or census-like records, so use those for your country as well. But I'm going to focus on the United States in this example, and then you can apply it for where you live. So start with a census record. And in this case, I was looking for Cinderella Chambers. I know that she had a family, and I know she married a man named Oscar. And so I'm going to start with a census record. And what's great about census records is not only do census records put your ancestors in a time and place, they also tend to put them in a family structure. There are some people who break the rules. But in this case, I have an Oscar and a Cinderella, and I have a daughter, and a son. And so now I have the names of the children that I could use to then go do some research. Now, it's also important that we read all the details on the census records. And in this case, this record says that Cinderella had 8 children, and 5 of them are still living. We have 3 in the home. We have a 25-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 17-year-old. So from that census record, I have found 3 children, but I also have a clue that says there are 8 more children and 5 are alive. No, not dead. That's a symbol for not dead. That was a gravestone. So I've got more children than I need to find. So I'm guessing there might be some right here. There could be some right here. And there could be some right here. Now, I have one more clue, and that is that they were married, which, what does the question say? It says, whether single or married, we've got that number of years married. So she's been married for 30 years in 1900. So she got married in 1870. So yeah, there could be some kiddos right there. Sorry, that 30 got cut off. Here, let's do it this way. There's a 30. So we found the 1900 census, and we know based on this that Cinderella was born in 1849 and she got married in 1870. So we're going to do 1870, 1880, 1890, question mark, 1910, 1920. That would make her she's 50 in 1910, 20 more years, 70. Now, the other thing that is important to pay attention to in the United States is we had state and territorial census records that happened between the decade census of the federal government. And so let's figure out where she lives. She's living in Iowa. Now, I know in Iowa, there was the 1895 census, the 1905 census, the 1915 census, and it's off the screen, but also the 1925 census. We'll pull that up a little bit right here. So not all of these records are going to be easily found online, but I can start online to go offline, which is one of the recommendations I always have for you here. So I'm going to start looking through all of those census records, and to give you just a quick update of what I found Arthur, who was born in 1871, and Hattie, who was born in 1879. And now I have the 5 that were living in 1900. I still don't know who the other 3 were. I don't know if that was a mistyping. I don't know if there was an error. I don't know if those were stillborn children, and so on and so forth. But the next thing I can do is to Search for vital records using the spouse names. Now, I mentioned this type of online search strategy in a previous video. Let me go ahead and show you how I did it. So what I'm going to do is I'm here on the record search page, and I'm not going to put anything here because I want to find the children. So I'm going to click more option, and I'm going to put a father, Oscar Chambers, and I'm going to put the mother as Cinderella. So I'm looking for the vital records of Cinderella's children, but I'm using a Ancestor plus spouse search. And unlike the video that I shared with you previously about Ancestor plus spouse, she's not going to have her surname. Instead, we're going to use her spouse's surname because, one, I don't know what Cinderella's last name is just yet. Two, a lot of the records aren't going to include her last name or going to have some last name that I'm not aware of, or it's misspelled or something like that. And so I'm just going to start broad and then narrow down. So go ahead and click on the search button. And you can do this search, I believe, on Ancestry, Find My Past and My Heritage. I'm just using Family Search because Family Search is free. So now what I want to do is I do want to filter this just to vital records. So I'm going to click on more options, and I'm going to come down here to type and do birth, marriage, and death. And this is how you have to do it over here on Family Search. Is when we do it that way, father, Oscar Chambers, mother, Cinderella d'Armand. Oscar, Cinderella dear, and Armand, Dearmond. And that's the beauty of doing this search in that way, where we do the father's name and then we just use Cinderella's name and nothing else. Now, if you have too many results and you go up and you filter by location, I haven't even filtered by country, and I'm finding the families that I need. What I love about this is, notice I'm also picking up the name variation. So we have a Leona Chambers, and she's getting married to James Schuler, but let's say we couldn't pick up this bridal record. We are picking up the death record, Lydia Leona. Oh wait, over here on this record, we only had Leona. If I didn't know her first name could have been Lydia, then I wouldn't have found her. And so by searching for her parents, meaning Cinderella with her spouse, and then doing a child search, I was able to pick it up, and I also now have her married name. So this is one of the reasons why I like this search. So if that's the only thing you watch in this video, that's great. So the next thing I want to do is, now that you have those children, because you found their vital records based on the mother and the father, now you can start going and looking for their records specifically. I can look for Lydia Chambers. I can look for Leona Chambers. It's the same person. I can go through and look for Lydia Schuler because that's her married name. All of these strategies that we talked about in online search strategies feeds into this process. So make sure you check out that video if you haven't watched it. The link will be in the description box. So now I'm going to start looking for additional records for the children, and I'm going to switch the search fields to their name one at a time as I find them. So I went over to Family Search and I typed in Lydia Leona Chambers. Nothing else. Remember, searching broad, why not? And one of the first results that comes up is a Find a Grave record. So after a number of hops, skips, and jumps, I'm going to make my way to Find a Grave. And now that I'm on Find a Grave, I really like this. Even though it is a compiled source and it's only as good as the information people contribute, what I can find is there's an entry for the father, there's an entry for the mother, there's an entry for the siblings. There's actually two, so I believe that her brother was buried in multiple locations. But now we have Nellie, Esther. I didn't have Esther before. Remember, before I only had Arthur, Nellie, Hattie, Leona, and Harry. So now I have an Esther, and I have a Minnie. No Minnie over here. So that picks up two kids that I didn't know of, as well as an infant daughter. So if I count these up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this is Leona, I can come back here and I can add the children that I was missing. There was Minnie, an Esther, an infant. And apparently I can count because that's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I found the 8 children because I went and looked for records from that child. Now, I could have gone to Find a Grade and looked for Cinderella directly, but it doesn't always work out that way. So I was just showing you one example that had a quick win, that when you go and look for other records about the children of the female, you can pick up new information. But you might want to search for records, land records, tax records, probate records, court records, adoption, orphan court goes to court. But all of these different records that we talk about in our brick wall busting series, and there is a free brick wall busting guide. It is on our resource page with a lot of other free guides, so make sure you go to the link in the description for finding that, to make sure you've looked at all possible records you can think of. Apply that to the children, because as you search the children will often have names of the mom. If you don't have the surname of the mom, might have some details of where they're from. Now, the records can conflict, but it gives you the clues that you need to try to track down the mom. To wrap up this video, as you search for the children, you're going to be gathering lots and lots of clues for your female ancestor. And then you're going to go and use those clues to search again the record collections you previously searched without much luck. And this time you're going to use the different locations, the different spelling variations of the last name. You're going to look for any clue that you get, maybe occupation, maybe there's an address somewhere. You're going to use those clues to see if you can track things down. And sometimes her children may have an uncle living in their home, and that uncle turns out to be her brother, and that brother can give you clues to her past. So search again the records for her that you thought you already looked at, or you already looked at, but use these new clues because you searched all of her children rather than your direct ancestor. And then search again for her spouse, because you have more clues about her now that you've looked at the children. Search again his records. This is particularly useful in newspaper records and other records where she's going to appear under her spouse's name. Next, I want you to apply the same name rule out strategy. Sometimes you get a lot of clues from the children and you know where she could be, but you're still not figuring out who her parents are, who her siblings are. So you're going to have to try the more advanced technique that I talk about in this video, evaluating same name individuals. So it's kind of buried in there. There will be a link to that in the show notes, but do the same name rule out process, which helps you to search an area using the clues that you have to see who could fit the criteria, and then eliminate everybody who doesn't for sure fit your criteria, and then you wind up with a handful of possibilities, and that can help you further your research and crack through those brick walls and find those ladies that you're looking for. And then finally, after you've done all of the paper trail research you can possibly get your hands on, and you still haven't figured out the details about your female ancestors, then I want you to turn to DNA, particularly autosomal DNA. And we have a lot of videos about that here on the Family History Fanatics YouTube channel. So be sure to go to our channel page and look at all the playlists for DNA research. You'll want to focus in on leads, charts, cluster research, and triangulation. Not so much the ancestor through lines, because you really don't have the clues you need to push her back, because you have the information from the children and you have the information from her spouse and her, but you can't go back a generation because you're lacking that information. So that's when you need to look at the leads chart, the DNA triangulation, and the cluster research to see if you can find kin that match that female ancestor in the right generation in order to break through your brick walls. So that hopefully gives you enough to get started finding your female ancestors. We've talked about methodology. We've talked about a search strategy online. that I'm not sure if you've tried before. If you have, make sure you tell me how successful or unsuccessful it has been using the comments below. And then we've also talked to you about some advanced methodology and when to start putting in the DNA to find your female ancestors. I wish you all the best in finding them. Some of them are just going to need divine intervention to help you find out, but at least you have left no stone unturned and you can get some success in finding those female ancestors. Make sure you hop over to our blog. It's over at familyhistoryfanatics.com, so you can get all the show notes for this and other videos that we've done, as well as the number of articles that we've written that we haven't turned into videos. So thank you so much, and we will see you next time.